Hello. I did a video back in Halloween time 2024 talking about 31 movies that I'm going to watch each day of the month. At the end of the video, I said, I'm going to do a follow-up video talking about those movies. It is now February 2025. But if you think about it, we just got to the end of January, Trump's first month back, and the horror rages on. So this still feels apt to be talking about spooky movies right now. So, in light of making this more fun, where I'm not just reading it by myself, my wife is there reading the movies that I wrote down on note cards in a shuffled order. So, I don't know what's coming. Here we go. Crap. This was like mid-October where, we need to be timing.
Hold on.
We're putting a timer on so I get cut off so I don't keep rambling. Cry Wolf. This movie was kind of a nothing burger of a movie. It had some fun moments. It had some fun fall dark academia vibes. They're all white people, but vaguely Tumblr aesthetic dark academia. The villain was okay. It was a little underwhelming. Well, I should say the killer was okay. The chief villain, the redhead lady, was very fun. She was very much the standout. That's kind of it. I can't even think of more to say on Cry Wolf. Baghead. Okay. Baghead was really good. I was excited, but I didn't know if this would be a good movie. And it's really not a horror movie, like at all. It's mostly a slice of life dramedy, but that really the primary core of it is the relationship between these two brothers. And I thought the characters were surprisingly good. The culmination of the villain as the movie's clipping along was actually pretty satisfying where the movie ends. So I wouldn't watch it if you're wanting a horror movie, but it is a good family snapshot movie.
Boys from County Hell.
Boys from County Hell was good, not super memorable. It was kind of like some of those Netflix horror movies. It's on Shudder, but it's the similar kind of, it felt a little churned out, but it's in a Irish small town. Was it Irish? Pretty sure it was Irish. I'll call myself out in the edit if I was wrong. But the characters were pretty good. The horror movie side of it got a little long, especially in the midpoint. It was like, all right, it was dragging a little bit. But the resolution with the dad and the son at the end, and the final monster at the end was pretty good. I would recommend it if you have Shudder.
The Exorcist III.
The Exorcist Part 3. This movie was really good, but also resolution at the end. Climax when everything's coming to a head was, for me, really disappointing. It was disappointing because the movie goes full balls to the wall in this kind of big cheesy exorcism style movie, and not like Exorcist TM, like the endless genre of exorcism movies that have come out of the Exorcist franchise. That was underwhelming to me because the first two halves were really interesting, reflective horror between what's going on, and I'm running out of time, but the relationship between the priest and the cop was really great. I wanted more. Okay, go.
Eyes of Fire.
Eyes of Fire was all the characters that were Native Americans in this movie surprisingly were not that offensive, which is good. And I think the movie was pretty condemning of the Pilgrims in this story. And I can't say with confidence what the filmmakers and the writer were thinking, but I do think that they were seeking out to pretty heavily critique this religious community. So it kind of ages well, and yet at the same time there's fun visuals, but the movie doesn't. Okay. Crawl is pretty fun. It's a good party movie to put on with a couple people. Good representation of my stomping ground of Florida, where I was born. In the movie, you have to like get these two characters stuck in a house with a big old gator. Spoiler alert, there's a couple gators, not just one. The way that they get them trapped in there with the hurricane coming is really good. Like, it feels realistic enough to where this could happen. A lot of things happening. There's some stuff that's like, you would be dead by now. But it was really good. It's not Jaws. Like, it's not just them taking that archetype and or setup. And I like the lead lady from Maze Runner. The Wailing is great. That, I would say, is a movie that almost every person should just watch at some point in life. I say almost because it is graphic. There's some animal deaths, not real animal deaths. It's either simulated or like an animal carcass But so you're not actually watching a real life animal killed on screen. But it is such a good tragic story that is also at parts a horror movie, at parts just a look into these people's grief and horror of how to take care of their own, like their family. And there's also really good themes on racism and xenophobia and how that's informing the horror you're seeing and if it actually is real horror. Okay.
Van Helsing.
Van Helsing is good. I think it's kind of overhyped by people. There's some great set pieces, there's some fun costume design. It's very cheesy costume design. Okay, so seeing Hugh Jackman, which is actually after he was Wolverine, which is funny, but seeing him as Van Helsing, I see why people were scared of him being cast as Wolverine and thinking he was like too theater boy, because he's amazing as Wolverine, but seeing him as Van Helsing is like, it does not hit. Like, he's not the rugged Van Helsing character we're wanting him to be. He's still fun though. Kate Beckinsale's fun. Her cloud face at the end is very funny. The Frankenstein is like the only good Frankenstein portrayal I like in this Van Helsing, surprisingly. Slashback was underwhelming. I wanted to like it more than I did. It just needed another rewrite with the script. It was confused on what it wanted to be. The monsters, kind of fun, not too bad for being like so CG heavy. And the little girls, all the actors, the lead actors were good. A lot of the supporting actors were kind of rough, which, I mean, it's a lower budget movie. You kind of expect that, but I wanted to like it more. I can't really say more. It had fun parts, but only rent it if you can get cheap.
Salem's Lot.
My cat is meowing, by the way. So if you hear screaming, that's what that is. Salem's Lot sucks. Salem's Lot is really bad. And I'm talking about the original. I'm not talking about the new one. There's so many moments, and I really wanted to like Salem's Lot. Bought it on Blu-ray. I was really excited for this when we watched it. It's not good. Like, there's a lot of moments where there's really slow moments where characters are walking or thinking or just kind of sitting in silence with each other. And watching it, I'm thinking, this is probably good in the book, but we're getting nothing in the movie. Also, the lead guy, which is kind of an author self-insert Stephen King guy. I got nothing against Stephen King. I like some of his stuff, but he just sucks. Like, he's a boring character. Everything Salem's Lot did, which granted is influential, but was vastly improved on in Midnight Mass. No contest. Okay, I'm out of time. Exhuma is also great. It has a lot of similarities with the Wailing, but it diverges in a lot of fun and unique ways. It is more of a traditional horror movie. It's like, we watch these like so close to each other, and they're both Korean and they both have exorcisms and like bodies coming back to life, or maybe coming back to life, so they feel connected. But where the Wailing kind of goes off to tragic story, more of a tragedy that's not so much a horror movie, Exhuma is more of like a take down the monster kind of movie as it starts progressing, and it's really good. I would definitely recommend watching this movie. All the characters in it are great. Okay, I'm out of time. Chopping Mall is like the quintessential like schlocky 80s movie that's gratuitous and meandering, but in a really fun way. And the movie's not long, thank God, because this setup for these killer robots would go stale really quick if this movie went on too long. The characters are fun, everyone's horny, and there's boobs everywhere for no real reason. But it's not so much exploitative like some gross horror movies I've seen. The robots are kind of boring. Like, it does feel like Rob from Smash Bros coming to kill you, which or like what's the Doctor Who Dalek? What are those robots called?
I have no idea.
Anyway, it feels like those things coming to kill you, but the couple at the end had a good thing. Anyway. ParaNorman is great. I want to own that. For me, one of the standouts. I hadn't seen it. I haven't seen most of the spooky stop motion movies actually, but I love Norman. With this world, a lot of times the extras are more fun than the main character or the side characters. ParaNorman legitimately was our favorite character throughout, and you don't get that often. Usually the characters' motivations are a little too Luke Skywalker-y, that are just like blatantly good or just like face value good. Norman was a really sweet character. I love his connection with the villain and their connection with their pain and trauma. All the side characters are great. All the extras are amazing, and the voice acting is amazing. Psycho Goreman, I feel like it kind of fell off a little bit at the end there, but I would definitely recommend seeing it. It is like a trip of a movie. It really is like early era decom for adults, and that like the plot meanders in this weird way where it's like, why are we spending so much time in this boardroom with these other monsters discussing how they're going to overtake different planets and territories? But it is also really fascinating. It's almost like a Buffy or an Angel episode, and its weirdness and its commitment to that. Love Psycho Goreman's costume and the acting and his voice. The kid, okay, I'm out of time.
Scream of Fear.
Scream of Fear is good. Christopher Lee is great in it. The lead lady, do you remember her name? Can't remember her name. I'll put her up in the edit. She is fantastic.
Guys.
Our cats are attacking each other. Okay, we're good. The lead lady's fantastic. Her bodyguard is also really good. There's only a few characters in here. They're all great. It is one of those gaslighting movies where this lady's not being believed and you're with her along the ride, wanting her to be understood and wanting to, it is also a mystery. You don't fully know what's going on. When we get to the ending, the climax, this is one of the best deaths I've ever seen in a movie. Okay, I'm done. Nightwatch, the 2004 Russian one. If you look for this movie, you gotta hunt a little bit. It is, last I looked, it's free on YouTube though, so not in English. Nightwatch is like a combination of a music video from The Fray or Daughtry or Creed and Men in Black. Like that is, the movie opens with this weird medieval war happening that's more like Lord of the Rings or the Alexander the Great Colin Farrell movie. Like it is so over the top. Very fun, but what are we watching? Okay.
Resident Evil Apocalypse.
It's Resident Evil. Mia Jovovich. It's great. I'll be honest, I don't even remember this one. Can you tell me anything?
Okay. I don't even remember that. Like, I think I fell asleep for part of this.
I'm gonna just move on.
Night of the Creeps.
Night of the Creeps is pretty good. The script's surprisingly kind of tight, which is truly a gamble with some of these more cheesy horror movies. The main characters are all really fun. It's actually funny. This guy has a crush on this girl, and they eventually get together at the end, and they like kind of save the block as they're being attacked by these sort of zombie slug alien things. But the main guy and his best friend, this 1000% was the couple. Like these two were like ride or die. I kind of wanted his girlfriend to kind of just go off like Sarah Connor on her own. The cop also in this movie, he kind of sucks. I don't like this guy. He's in a lot of these horror. Okay, I'm done. Manhunter is a really good movie. It's Michael Mann. Michael does good movies. I like it is, Silence of the Lambs before Silence of the Lambs. Like it's more understated. It's less in your face with its drama and its horror. I like how they do the villain in this. Not Hannibal Lecter. He's great too, though. He feels more real. Anthony Hopkins' portrayal is a bit more like theater. I like the lead guy. It's funny seeing like 80s culture before it got cheesy. Truly was trendy. Okay. The First Omen was really good. I liked a lot of this movie. I'm having a hard time to pick out. Okay. Cinematography was amazing. There were some really beautiful shots in this movie. The lead lady, can't remember her name. She kept reminding me of Ethel Cain while I was watching her. Loved her. Most of the performances in here I thought were really solid. Ralph's voice is immaculate as usual. I did like the commitment to the birthing horror. It is also a little funny that's like, if you've watched a birthing video, you can handle the gore. Like some of the people freaking out about the gore online was kind of funny to me. Cemetery Man is really fucking stupid. It's like a little incel manifesto in this movie. So not literally, like he doesn't like go off on a tirade of like, you know, a monologue or anything, but every freaking woman in this movie dies or is tortured or is sexualized to an absurd level. That's like, what are we watching right now? So this guy, he gets obsessed with this lady who's been coming to the cemetery, whose husband just died and she's grieving, and he is just like preying upon her. He then proceeds to see her and all these other women and just keeps killing them. This is not the tone of the movie. Okay.
Scary stories to tell in the dark.
This movie is pretty 50-50, where it has some great moments and it has some really cheesy filler moments. One of the shining parts of this movie is all of the monster designs, especially the more practical stuff. You can definitely see Guillermo's involvement in some of this, and it's great. I know I'm gonna run out of time, so I'll just focus on my favorite part. I love one of the kids gets trapped in like a hospital, but like the back hallways, and there's this wet hair lady coming after him. I liked the monster design because it rode this uncanny valley where it's not like fat phobic or just riding on like normal grudge horror, you know. I love the monster design. Okay.
Cabin in the Woods.
Had you seen this too?
Yes.
Okay. This is the only one we had both seen of this month. Cabin in the Woods is really, really good. It still holds up really well. You never know with the Joss Whedon movies how they hold up now, or the shows. All the characters are fun, all the ways that it plays with the stereotypes and the where to take the plot. It's a lot of fun. Obviously the third act is when everything comes to the head is so satisfying to watch. Spoiler alert, I'm gonna just spoil this movie. The crew behind the scenes orchestrating and coordinating all these monsters and developments of things that could kill them coming and going is just so fun. Like the more corporate side behind here is so fun to watch these guys and then watching them in their office party. Oh, okay, we're out of time.
Tusk.
I hated Tusk. Oh, I hated this movie so much. This movie, like, I got nothing against Kevin Smith. I haven't seen his other movies. I haven't seen any of them actually. So, you know, I can't really speak positively or negatively toward him, except I hated Tusk. It's like a movie that doesn't fully commit to being a comedy, doesn't fully commit to being a horror movie, doesn't fully commit to the the deep tragedy that Justin's character goes through. And watching it, I can feel that this was a goofy, morbid premise that was pitched in his podcast. And then at the end, it's like, oh, this is blah, blah, blah. This is from the podcast episode. It's like, yeah, I can feel that because this is a stupid movie that is just cruel to all these characters. Okay, I'm done.
House of Wax.
This might have been the most fun movie of the whole month. If you like any of the Supermassive games, you will like this movie. Like it's kind of like beat for beat a Supermassive game where like there's the group, they stumble upon some weird horror. There's like a creepy redneck guy with a bunch of like dead deer in his truck is like a red herring that's not actually a threat. And then they get separated, they get to this creepy town. There's weird stuff that doesn't quite make sense, but it's fun enough that you don't even really question what's going on. There's the villain and the villain's partner. I'm speaking around the spoiler. It's really fun. There's also a lot of good Achilles tendon scissor moments.
The Crawling Eye.
This movie's very stupid, obviously. Watch the trailer. You know what you're in for. You just have to be on board with it's a big eyeball that comes to life and starts killing people. We watched a version that the movie was black and white and it was colorized. And whatever they did with the coloring in this was so weird. I'll put in footage. Like, you see what I'm saying? Like, what they did with the skin, how it's going back and forth between gray and yellow. And it was weird.
Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
This was the movie where I was talking about, Night of the Creeps, where I was like, the two guys should have gotten together here. This was the other movie, really, with Killer Clowns, where it's like, these two boys should have been the couple, and his girlfriend should have just been able to go off on her own, because like, this is the duo, these two guys right here. The movie's really fun. I did not expect the movie to be as solid as it is, because some of these cult movies take on a life of their own and you don't know how good they are when you're outside of the nostalgia of it. But yeah, Killer Clowns deserves its spot as a beloved movie. Like, it was so good.
Dawn of the Dead.
Dawn of the Dead, the original, is a really good movie. It's almost not so much a good zombie movie as it is a good anti-capitalist, anti-consumerist movie. I would almost recommend it like that, as opposed to if you want to watch a fun or a thoughtful zombie movie. I love the four main actors. They're all great. I especially love the lead guy. I don't remember his name. I love the lead lady too. I know I'm running out of time, but cut me off. I love how they let her cut off her relationship with her boyfriend and they don't explain it that much. They just let her have that agency in this story. Okay, anyway.
The final one.
Ooh.
The Ritual.
This is a good one for the final one. Okay. The Ritual is really good, especially for being a Netflix movie. It was surprisingly well made. It's one of those movies that is a great popcorn flick to have with a group, but also halfway through the movie, the group would start not enjoying it because it starts getting legitimately creepy just because it's really good. It has great themes and commentary on masculinity and where these four guys and a fifth guy who dies way at the beginning, where their identities fit in with all this, with the group and just with their lives. It has great, like a great backdrop with this cult that's obsessed with something in the forest. The monster design, the something in the forest is the monster, obviously. The monster design is one of the best, like ever. It's so good. I love this movie beginning to end. Love it. It's great. Watch it. So that's it. Cool. For any of you still here watching, thank you so much for getting all the way through this video with me. It means a lot to have you here. I am working on another video, very different from this, but it is still about something in media. I'm not going to talk about it yet, but that's all I got for now. Thank you. Goodbye.